What's up? Well, I'm back again. Just when you get used to one way of me making videos, I decided to try something a little different. I just decided that rather than try to sit at that desk over there, and make a video, why not just use my little skeletons to make it a Halloween themed background? And it's also a Thanksgiving themed background because that right there, I don't know if you can see it, but it says, I don't know if I can zoom it, but it says, take time to give thanks for the beauty of today. Take time to give thanks for the beauty of today. And while that doesn't have to be exclusive to just Thanksgiving, it does kind of remind me of that day. So, Halloween and Thanksgiving in the picture. I decided, that rather than just have all that clutter behind me, I'd have it behind the camera instead. So, what I want to talk about in this video, I want to say that, I don't know what's going on with the chaptering of my videos. And I hear another train. But when I take the time to add chapters to my videos, I want those chapters to appear. So it's very upsetting, when I go through all the effort of putting the chapter markers exactly where they should be. And then I come back to the video after it was working just fine and notice that for whatever reason, they decided that my chapters are not going to work today. And I don't know why it goes from working to not working, but for some reason, some of my videos just cannot be made to work with the chapters. I don't know what it is, but what I'd like to talk about in this video, I just have all this stuff on this thing. I'm not exactly proud of the way it looks, but it's better than it was. I just wanna say that, it's just lovely, cool weather. It's amazingly cool. It's like getting around 50 degrees. And it just never ceases to amaze me. When the weather starts getting cool like that, I need a jacket to go outside. It's a wonderful time of year. Just a wonderful, wonderful time of year that I wish could last longer. That's why I say it isn't so much Halloween that I like so much as the weather that you start having once the number in the ones place for the month is below 3 or even below 5 and below, because you can still have cold weather the first week of May, like in 97. So, it's just want to talk about, just how that frustrates me, how somebody is stopping my chapters from working, I guess because they don't agree with my subject or something like that. Somebody might be reporting it. So, it's just very frustrating, because I don't go through that effort to do that just because it's fun. I do it because I want to see it work as chapters. And, I just want to, there's just so many things I could talk about. So many things. When I was at my mom's house, I wanted to talk about, just more on this antagonist suffering thing, because I feel like I didn't do that video justice. Really none of my videos get the attention that I would like to give them, or the care that I would like to put into them if I had support and if I had help. Instead of two parents that have to be oblivious to what I'm doing on here. But, I just wanted to talk some more about that, how I feel like, the one thing I hate the most about children's media, I mean, really, I shouldn't even care, because as I found out in 7th grade, I shouldn't even be reading books about sixth graders on a fourth or fifth grade level, let alone watching children's cartoons. I shouldn't even be into any of that. But one thing I just hate the most about children's media is how villains just never suffer. They never get their just rewards. They always get a very watered down version of what they deserve. Whether it's Cedric on Sophia the First, whether it's Angelica on Rugrats, whether it's Lars on Rocket Power, whether it's Courtney and Miranda on As Told by Ginger. No matter who the villain is, it's like they just never hit them hard enough, with the comeuppance. It never hits them hard enough for my liking. They're just always intact, in every important way. And it's like, they do the same thing in the next episode. And I feel like, and then that's one thing I could talk about As Told by Ginger, which I've been meaning to make a video on that one, how As Told by Ginger was kind of my young adult. It was almost like a way of continuing the Rugrats obsession when I was 19 and clearly getting tired of the Rugrats. I mean, I'd have to say the Paris movie and All Grown Up was the turning point at which I said no more Rugrats. And as I've stated before, I didn't even see that movie that I've made way too many videos about until it was a couple years old. And the obsession didn't take hold until a couple years ago. So I had completely gotten out of Rugrats. But because my little sister was now into As Told by Ginger, I became obsessed with that show. And I felt a lot of the same things about it that I felt about Rugrats, in the way that I found it to be very unrealistic, but my character of obsession was Carl. And I found it to be yet another show that I hated because of the fact that I found it unrealistic in the sense that the children were almost never sick. I mean, except for you had very specific characters. You had Macy Lightfoot, and she was basically the sick character. She was the Chucky of the older girls. And then you had Blake getting his tonsils removed. But other than that, you pretty much, there's just no, other than if the voice actor in real life sounded like they had a cold, there was no mention of the usual, 4 to 6 or 8 colds. The usual colds that a child would have in real life, especially up north where it's cold like it was in Connecticut. There was never any mention of especially certainly not main characters and all that. There was just no mention of illness. I feel like that's the thing that always bothered me the most about cartoons, that was just carefully omitted. You just didn't really have main characters unless they were the sick character with the allergies, and then that's all they ever had. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't also catch colds in addition to their allergies. In all but maybe one episode. So here I was, 19, almost 20, and I wasn't getting as many colds as I'd gotten through high school and all that. But I think I still had 3 or 4, as I've stated before, 3 or 4 that year, and then 4 the next year, and then maybe 1 or 2 the year after that, by which time I'd gotten over the obsession, and then 1 a year after that. And so, I was still getting maybe 2 to 4 or 1 to 4 per year. And it really bothered me that, these little boy characters, boys in particular, are the ones who get the most in childhood, but yet they hardly were ever sick. And the comeuppance was never enough for the main villains of any of these shows. And, same thing about Sophia the First. Same thing about pretty much all children's cartoons, is that too much stupidity and not enough reality, like illness and disease, and an actual comeuppance worthy of the villain.